Welcome to the Chemistry Open Night webinar. My name is Janet McRae and I'm responsible for A-Level Chemistry here at QE. And with me this evening is Julia Magnell, one of our chemistry teachers. Do you want to say hello, Julia?
Hi, everyone.
And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you a little bit of information about A-Level Chemistry and give you a chance to ask some questions. Julia's going to relay your questions to me, so please just type in a question if you have a question that you want to ask. Hopefully you've had a chance to have a look at the video that tells you a little bit about the A-Level Chemistry course. We know that students study chemistry at GCSE at school, so they have a very good idea what chemistry as a subject is like. And really at A-Level, what we do is we expand on the content that you study as part of GCSE chemistry. So it doesn't matter if you've taken separate chemistry at GCSE or if you're taking combined science. We start our A-Level course from where combined science finishes. So what we ask is that you have a 6 in your triple chemistry or 2 6s in your combined science at GCSE if you want to take A-Level chemistry. 20% of our A-Level course has mathematical content, so we also ask for a level 6 in your maths at GCSE and that you have an average GCSE score of 5.5. We have 5 hours worth of chemistry every week, and that ends up being in 4 lessons. So 2 of those lessons are 1.5 hours long and 2 are 1 hour lessons. And we try to make one of those lessons every week a practically based lesson. We know that you've done different amounts of practical work at GCSE, so we start off with some nice simple experiments and they gradually get more complicated as we progress throughout the year. We tend to have you do your experiments in pairs initially, and then we kind of progress you to doing your experiments individually. So I might just check with Julia and see if we have any questions that you want answers to.
Okay, we've got nothing at the moment. However, we can sort of think about maybe answering what sorts of things they'll study at A-Level Chemistry. That's always a question that's asked at open evenings.
Okay, so if I give you a couple of examples, at GCSE chemistry, you'll probably study rates of reaction. So you might do some experiments where you compare how quickly reactions take place. So we do that in a little bit more depth and detail at A-Level. And what we do is we learn to use some computer software to record the results that we get and to process the results that we get when we carry out our experiments. And we also use some maths to analyse the results of our experiment. So we'll learn about a new quantity that we call the rate constant, something that affects the rate of chemical reactions that you won't have studied at GCSE. And that's fairly typical of what happens at A-Level in comparison to GCSE. We might revisit topics, but go into more depth and more detail on those topics. Another good example is the organic chemistry. It forms almost 50% of A-Level chemistry, and at GCSE you would learn about simple hydrocarbons like the alkanes, whereas at A-Level what we do is we study other families of organic chemicals and we look at how reactions between those chemicals can produce useful chemicals that are kind of used in our day-to-day lives like dyes and pharmaceuticals. Any further questions, Julia?
I just want to say that if you do have questions, please use the Q&A function on the Zoom meeting and then I'll monitor all of that because there are usually quite a lot of questions to ask and this is a really good opportunity to do it. And I'm just thinking of all the questions that we get asked and I'm just thinking about things like people asking what you can do with chemistry A-Level. You know, what happens after you've got the chemistry A-Level?
So most of the students who study chemistry A-Level at QE choose to go on to follow some degree course at university. The range of courses that students end up studying varies enormously. We have students who will study pure chemistry at university. We have students who will go on to study maybe biomedical science or biochemistry, maybe pharmacy or pharmacology. We have students that will go on to look at more physical sciences. We get students who will go on to study physics, who who will go on to study different types of engineering. We always have students who are interested in pursuing a career in medical sciences, either pure medicine or veterinary medicine, or sometimes dentistry or biomedical sciences. But we have many students who will study chemistry because they have enjoyed it at GCSE, and they'll go on to do something that appears to be totally not linked to chemistry as a subject. So we get students who go on to study accountancy or law or music or history. So we have a huge range of degree courses that students will go on to. And chemistry is quite a useful subject because it dips into lots of skills, in particular numeracy, application of knowledge and problem solving skills. And obviously it develops your practical skills as well. Recently, we've had quite a few students who've taken the option of applying for degree level apprenticeships. And that's something that's certainly becoming more popular. And we have some students who go directly into employment, but really the main destination for our chemistry students is to go on to university and study for a degree.
Okay. I've got quite a few questions in now.
Fabulous.
So someone's asking if they want to be a paramedic, is chemistry a good subject to take?
Chemistry is a suitable subject to take, but I would recommend doing a little bit of research on the UCAS website to find out about courses that you can take to be a paramedic, because quite often they'll ask for just a science and they won't specify that it needs to be chemistry. And in the past, we've had students take our applied science course and go on to do to train to be a paramedic. So I think, yes, it's a good choice, but there are other choices that you can make to get into being a paramedic as a chosen career.
Okay. Someone's asking how big our A-level science classes are.
Okay, so it kind of varies from year to year, but usually I would say on average our A-level science classes would contain 20 students. Occasionally they're a little bit lower than that, so we have some this year that have 18 students in, but they will go as high as 24 students. That kind of reaches the capacity of our lab because we don't really have room to do practical work for more than 24 students. So I would say somewhere between 18 and 24 students per A-level chemistry class, and very similar for applied science, biology and physics as well.
Okay, a simple question to answer here is, which exam board do we use?
So we use OCR as our exam board. They offer 2 chemistry specifications and ours is specification A. The other one is delivered very differently. So OCR, chemistry A-level specification A.
Okay. And how many years are they going to study chemistry for?
2 years. Yeah. So first and second year A-level chemistry. Is that what we mean, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think this one's quite a challenging one to answer because they're actually asking what grade do I need to get into university, but I've got no course or anything here. So
if you want to study chemistry at university, there is a massive range in the grades that you need to get onto a chemistry course. There are lots of universities that will ask you to have an A grade or even an A-star grade to get onto their chemistry course. But the range will go all the way down to having a D grade in your chemistry to get onto other chemistry courses. And if you don't achieve a high enough grade, quite a few universities will offer a foundation science course where you can take the grade that you get in your A-level and do an initial year with the university, and that leads you into one of their full degree courses. So the message there really is for you to do your research. And again, I would recommend the UCAS website because that allows you to have access to information about lots and lots of universities. And as I say, there's a whole range of entrance grades that are needed. But of course, that's not the only thing you should consider when you're going to apply to university to study any subject, you truly do need to go and visit the university and find out about what life is like at that university, view the facilities for yourself, and find a university that you know that you will be happy at for 3 years.
Okay, and this is a good question. What's the difference between applied science and the separate sciences?
Okay, so the applied science is a course that has some examined content and also some coursework content. So Julia might just keep me right on this, because the new applied science course has just changed recently. I think 50% of each. And what happens with your applied science course is you actually get an opportunity to take one of your exams in the January, and then your final exams in the summer. That doesn't happen with your A-level chemistry. Your A-level chemistry or biology or physics is 100% examined, and you would take your exams, all of them, at the end of your second year. In terms of content, the applied science tries to look at science more in a work-based environment, and it dips into biology, chemistry, and physics, whereas the separate sciences focus exclusively on physics or biology or chemistry. And again, the message would really be, why are you taking the science? What do you want to do with your science qualification once you've got it? And check to make sure that chemistry A-level will get you there, or applied science will get you there. And also have a think about the grades that you need to get in those subjects. Anything else you think that I've missed about applied science, Julia?
No, I think you've covered that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, a couple of these are fairly specific. I can sort of answer one of them, but I've got a question of what combination of sciences would I need to study archaeology or anthropology at university?
Oh, I don't know, Julia. What would you, I mean, again, I think I'd probably direct you to that UCAS website. You can search by subject, and I think it will probably vary from university to university. So that would be my recommendation. I also think there might be a live webinar from the careers department. So I would look back on the webinar timetable on the college website and see if there is a careers webinar. And if there is, then the staff who work in the careers department have the best up-to-date knowledge of requirements for subjects for different university courses. But I would certainly use the UCAS website to do a subject search for entrance requirements for those.
Okay, and the next one is somebody wants to go into the geosciences in the future, which is geology, volcanology, geophysics. Will chemistry help me achieve that?
I would say definitely the answer would be yes, and good combinations to do along with your chemistry. I mean, we offer geology A-level here, so I would certainly say that would be a good one to take along with your chemistry. I also think physics or maths would go nicely, but what I might do is just get Julia to contribute to this answer, because that's kind of a chosen career path for her son.
That's right. Yeah. Basically, they'll want you for, if you wanted to do geophysics, then you definitely need to take physics and probably some maths in there. The geology is really good. However, for the geology volcanology side of things, they want the subjects that Janet's just mentioned, and whatever you haven't done at A-level, you have to do a module on in your first year anyway. So if you've done chemistry, you won't have to do chemistry as that, but you might have to pick up physics or maths at university with it. So, yeah.
But really great career choice, don't you think, Julia?
Oh, yeah. My son's definitely still working in the field, and it's not in academia, which is great. He gets paid proper money. Okay, any more questions? Yes, there's quite a lot. This is there a practical test within the chemistry A-level?
Okay, so the answer kind of is yes, but what happens is you get tested on the practical work that we complete with you over the 2 years in your exam papers. It's a very fair system because students studying chemistry across the whole of the country get asked the same questions about their practical work. They're the sort of questions that would be very difficult to answer if you haven't completed the experiments. So we have, as part of our specification, a whole series of experiments that there's an expectation that you will do. And then, as I say, you get examined on those experiments as part of your exam. But we also work towards what we call a practical endorsement certificate. And that is something that you get to complement your A-level chemistry. And what you have to do in order to attain that practical endorsement is you have to show that you are a competent practical chemist. Now that's a very easy process for us here in chemistry because we're a very practical subject. You might remember that I said that on average we do a bit of practical work once a week in one of our lessons, and throughout the 2 years you will undoubtedly improve your practical skills. You'll have a lot of opportunities to kind of hone those skills. And I think since 2016, we have never had a student not be awarded the practical endorsement at the end of the 2 years. So you do get examined on it in the exam papers, but you also have to demonstrate practically that you can carry out the practical work to a good level in order to be awarded the practical endorsement. But it's something that we at QE absolutely adore doing. All of us who teach A-level chemistry love the practical work, and so we always try our best to give you as much practical experience as possible.
Okay. And can chemistry help other sciences at A-level?
I think chemistry can help other sciences and other subjects generally at A-level. Undoubtedly, it marries up very well with biology. For example, at the moment, our second years have just started a topic on amino acids, and those that take biology have already met amino acids as part of the work that they do on biological molecules. We have a bit of overlap with our physics and also with geology as well, and applied science. And we do quite a bit of maths in our chemistry, so you get to apply your math skills with your chemistry. So yeah, I think it works well on a lot of levels, but my favorite thing about chemistry is the fact that we don't teach you everything that's going to be in the exam. So what you have to do is you have to take what we do teach you and learn to use it to answer questions set in an unfamiliar context. And that's useful for all subjects, and it's useful for your life in future. So that's one of the main skills that we develop in A-level chemistry.
And how many students can we take for chemistry each year?
We usually have somewhere between 100 and 120. I say usually because that's what we've had over the past 3 or 4 years. And that's kind of somewhere between 100 and 120 would be in our first year and in our second year, because nowadays what students do is they select to study 3 level 3 subjects and they keep them for the 2 years. So somewhere between 100 and 120 is what we usually have.
And somebody else is asking about how many classes we have and do we set our classes?
Okay, so we have 5 classes of chemists in first year and 5 classes of chemists in second year. And we don't set our classes. We have done in the past. We've done a little bit of experimental work on setting our classes, but what really happens is because of the timetable in college, students come to chemistry, we call them blocks on the timetable, and because we only have 1 class at a time, that doesn't really allow us the ability to set our chemistry classes. And I think we quite like that because we find that chemistry is quite varied in terms of the topics that you learn, and students aren't always good at every topic in chemistry. In particular, our 2 kind of main branches of chemistry, organic chemistry and physical and inorganic chemistry, they're very different to each other. So a student might be particularly good at organic chemistry, and the physical and inorganic chemistry they might be a little bit weaker at. So it doesn't really lend itself very well to setting, and I actually think having a mixed ability class brings everybody on.
Oh, nice question here is which firms do take on chemistry apprentices? We've had quite a few of those.
We've had Johnson Matthey, haven't we, very recently take on chemistry apprentices. We've also had GlaxoSmithKline, and we've had students go there. I'm trying to think about who else we've had. GlaxoSmithKline has been where both Lydia and Jacob went, two of our former students who help us with a little bit of employability skill work. I'm trying to think about other companies. There's been quite a few, and I've forgotten some of the names.
Yeah,
so there's two that we can remember off the top of our heads, GlaxoSmithKline and Johnson Matthey.
And throughout the 2 years, will we constantly have the same tutor?
It varies. In first year, you usually have one chemistry teacher, but in the last few years, we've always had one group that has been split between two teachers just because of timetabling. I think we're very fortunate that the three of us who teach A-level chemistry are very like-minded, and so we don't have any problem when we share classes. We kind of try to teach as if it's just one person teaching, and the teachers will hand on from one lesson to the next. What happens at the end of first year is that the classes get kind of regrouped going into second year, and because they get regrouped, some students end up with the same teacher that they had in first year, and some students end up getting a different teacher to the teacher they had in first year. But again, because we follow a very similar style of teaching, I don't think that students really notice a great difference. We also share all of our teaching resources, and because of that, we do the same experiments, use the same resources. It's a very, very similar experience that you'll get from first year right the way through to second year, even if your teacher does change.
And then somebody's asking if they like biology, should they pick chemistry as well?
I would say don't pick chemistry unless you like it too. So if you like biology, what you need to do is have a little think about where you might want to go when you leave QE, what sort of degree you might want to do. You need to look at the entrance requirements for that degree, and if they require chemistry, then yes, you might need to take chemistry, but I don't think you should take chemistry because you think it goes well with biology. None of the A-levels are straightforward and easy to study, so liking them and enjoying them is really an important part of your decision to choose a certain subject.
Okay, and somebody's asked, Laura's asked, for forensic pathology, would you recommend chemistry? If not, what would you recommend?
I think that chemistry is probably a good choice for forensic pathology. Because sometimes to get onto courses like that, they're not actually looking for forensic anything. They want the analytical chemistry skills. So I would think that yes, it would be a very sensible subject to choose. But again, I'd recommend that you do a little bit of research and have a look at the A-levels that university courses are asking for to do forensic pathology.
We've got, do we partly work from home? And also people are asking sort of about homework and things. So I don't know if we're on about remote working or
not.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably a question that's only going to crop up now because of COVID. In terms of do we partly work from home, since the beginning of September, we have worked in college, and we try very hard, and we will try very hard to keep working in college. We have had students who have had to isolate because of being in contact with people who have developed COVID symptoms. And what we've done is we have used Google Meet lessons running along with our in-college lessons so that we can keep those students working and up to date with their work. So it sounds a little bit chaotic, but what we do is if you had to isolate and had to work from home, we'd invite you to join your normal class at its normal time via a Google Meet, and we would deliver the lesson to you via the Google Meet whilst we're delivering the lesson to our class in the classroom. And actually, it was a little bit hectic to begin with, but we've kind of adapted to it, and we're at the stage where we're quite pleased with the way that it's working. And most of our students who've had to isolate have felt that they haven't got behind on the content. In terms of homework, we like homework. We like a little bit of reinforcing of the learning that we've done in class by you as an individual. So we set homework, we set a piece of homework every week and ask you to submit that to us. At the moment, again, because of COVID, what we're doing is we're trying to set that homework to you online and get you to submit it via Google Classroom so that we can give you a mark and some feedback via Google Classroom. So you would get a piece of homework to complete like that every week. We also do something that we call pre-reading, where we give you a textbook and we get you to read ahead about the next topic. So we'd set that weekly. And once you've been in college for a little while, then we start to give you some exam technique practice as homework. So we'd set you a past paper every week so that you could practice answering exam style questions and get to learn what the examiners are looking for in terms of, maximizing your potential to get marks in the exam. So we have a theory in college that you get 5 hours worth of content time in chemistry lessons. And we think to supplement that at home, you need to do 5 hours worth of individual work. So by giving you a bit of homework that might take an hour, and your pre-reading that might take half an hour to an hour, and your past paper that might take an hour and a half, we're really helping you to use your time very wisely at home, and that would leave you with perhaps another hour where you could read over the work that you've done in lesson and check your own understanding of it, or use some end of chapter questions from the textbook to reinforce your learning. So yes, in terms of homework, you're going to get homework definitely to reinforce your learning. And in terms of working from home, if you have to work from home, we feel that we're supporting you quite well with inviting you to Google Meets and keeping you really in lessons. Julia.
Okay, so I think this is I'm just conscious that we're running out of time. Before next September, if COVID is relaxed, will there be an opportunity to have a look around the science department?
It's one of those things that you have to keep your eye on the college website and check there for information. But I'm sure if it's at all possible, then we would love you to come and visit. So really just keep in contact with college on the website, or you could email into college. And if it's possible, yes, that would be nice. But I believe that we are going to do a virtual walk through college, and that will be appearing, I think, on our website fairly soon. So when that does, that would give you an idea of what it's like in our college labs.
Okay, and somebody's just asking what the results were like this year and what the pass rate was.
Okay, so the results this year were very different because obviously our students were awarded teacher centre assessed grades. On the board behind me, you can see that our record of chemistry A-level results is very, very good. So in 2019, 100% pass rate and 66% high grades, that's A star, A and B grades. So this year with our centre assessed grades, they were a little bit down. We had 100% pass rate, but only 62% high grades. So we were obviously disappointed with that because our record for high grades, 66%, 69%, 67%. So we were just a little bit disappointed with that.
Okay, and then the last question is, what sort of revision materials are provided?
So we have a chemistry Google site that we refer our students to, and on that we put lots of revision resources, lots of past papers. We also post the materials that we use in lesson. We operate, each of our individual classes operates a Google Classroom page, and again we put revision resources on there. We give you a textbook, and the textbook has lots of end of chapter exam style questions that have come from past exam papers. And if students use all of the revision resources that we posted, then they just simply come and ask us and we'll refer them to perhaps older past papers that are still relevant to our specification. So there are revision books in the library as well that you can access, but certainly there's a good supply of lots of revision materials available to you. Okay, did we say that was the last question, Julia?
That was the last question that's
Perfect. So what I would say is, if you do have any further questions that you want to ask, then please email jmcrae@qelis.ac.uk at college, and I will be very happy to answer your questions. And you'll also be able to find that link on the college website. Thank you very much for listening.